Hi, this is Jeremy for xrmdevs.com. In this video, I'm going to create a plugin and I'm going to download a PDF file from the web using Web Client. We could use an example like this when, say, we're running a plugin and we want to call out to a service to fetch an attachment and then attach it to a record and so forth. So let's go ahead and create an account. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like without the plugin activated. So I'm just going to create an account 1. Take a look at the record here, and you'll notice under the Notes tab, there's no notes found because nothing is set to run. So we're going to open up Visual Studio 2015, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. We're going to be using the .NET 4.5.2 framework. This is the minimum supported standard. I'm just going to call this project plugins. Go ahead and click next. Okay, so first thing we need to do, like always, is bring in our references. So right click and add reference. We're going to browse for the Microsoft.xrm.sdk DLL, which is in the bin folder of the SDK that you've downloaded from Microsoft. And then we also need a reference to system.runtime.serialization, which is part of the .NET framework. Once we've included those references, we need to sign our plugin. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and sign that. I'm going to create a new strong key name. And let's call our strong key name plugins. Sounds really strong. And let's go ahead and close that out. We're going to go ahead and implement the iPlugin interface. So let's go ahead and do that. Implement missing members, get rid of this boilerplate code. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use the service provider factory to obtain a reference to the plugin execution context. So let's go ahead and do that using the organization service factory. Now we're going to check the context once we get it and check the input parameter collection to see that it contains a property called target. And if it does, we want to check that that parameter is in fact an entity, because it can be an entity reference. So we need to make sure that we're dealing with an entity. Once we have that, we're going to create a new entity, call it annotation, which is the type of the entity. And in this note, I'm going to set the subject to, let's see, example PDF attachment, and then I'm going to set the file name to example PDF attachment.pdf, like so. Now I'm going to instantiate an instance of the web client, and I'm just simply going to use the download data method call from the client, and I have this addressed here, just a random PDF sample address that I found on the web. It could be anything, but this is just basically to demonstrate the download itself. I'm going to set the document body of the note to base64 string. So any attachments that come through in the annotations, they need to be converted into base64 string. That's how CRM saves it internally. The MIME type is going to be application PDF, and then the object ID is going to be an entity reference. So in this case, the referenced entity is going to be the account, right? So we're going to attach this note to the account. So I'm going to fetch the ID parameter out of the output parameters object in the context, and then set this new entity reference to that ID. So the system will know this note belongs to this account because this is the ID that it's going to use as the entity reference. And then I'm going to set the text to something simple like, here's a sample PDF download from the internet, like so. Now I'm going to utilize the organization service factory. So we're going to get an instance of that. Once we have our instance of the service factory, we're going to call the service factory after we've created the organization service. I'm going to use the context of my user ID that I'm creating with, and then I'm going to simply create the note, like so. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to go into my plugin registration tool, which is again in your SDK. I'm going to create a new connection, show advanced, and then my username, password, log in. Now, once I've logged in, this should display a list of default registered plugins minus the plugin profiler. So I'm going to point to the plugin DLL that we just created, and I'm going to register that. Okay, so it's registered. Once it's registered, I'm going to register a new step against that DLL, and it's going to be on the create message, and the primary entity is account. There's no secondary entity. We're going to have post-operation synchronous call, so it's going to run instantly. I'm going to register that step, okay, like so. So the plugin is now registered. So what we can do now is go back into our CRM, and this time we're going to create an account. I'm going to call it account 2. Now the expectation would be after I save this that the plugin will call out to the internet using the web client, download that PDF and attach it as a note to this account. So let's go ahead and view the record, and we're going to click on the Notes tab, and there you have it, example PDF attachment. And I'm going to click on the PDF and save it, then open, and there you have it, downloaded fresh from pdf995.com. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.